Hi guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV. Well, City lose 3-1 to Lyon. We're out of the Champions League yet again at an early stage, last 16 quarterfinals, and we just can't seem to make that step. So I'm going to look at 5 reasons why City lost, and I'm sure you can come up with a lot more than 5. You could probably have 10 or 15, but I'm just going to come up with 5 for you today. 1, poor decision making, tinkering, and overthinking from the manager. Now, Pep started the game with some, let's say, on reflection, dodgy tactics. We were far too defensive, far too different from normal. It looked like our players didn't know what to do. Now, we might have been practicing for several days for this. I don't know. Obviously, I think we were in training, but they just didn't look used to it. They just didn't look comfortable. When we changed things up in the second half, back to our, let's say, more of our normal way of playing, we looked far better, much better going forwards. But Pep's failure to change things was obviously not working. That was a glaring error for me. Not making the Mahrez for Fernandinho change at halftime was another poor call. We saw it wasn't working. Yeah, everybody could see it wasn't working. Within about 20, 30 minutes, it wasn't working. It was so disjointed. We were not really threatening at all. We weren't getting behind them the way we normally would. We weren't creating the bundles of chances in our normal way. Hardly had a proper chance in that first half. And I think we should have changed things up, even in the first half. Pep let it go to half time, let it go into the second half. And then after about 10 minutes, he made the switch, taking Fernandinho off, who was already booked, bringing Mahrez on. And then it changed. It really did change. But it should have been earlier. As I said, maybe after 30 minutes saying it's not working. In the first half, make that call. Maybe not make a substitution, but make that call. And at halftime, make that call. We only ended up using, was it 2 subs? We could have used 5. I just can't believe how that was possible. Reason number 2, too many players had poor or average games and didn't offer enough. Laporte and Ederson making mistakes at the back, Sterling and Gabby making mistakes up front. For me, for all his brilliance, KDB, off the top of my head, had 2 moments of magic amongst a below-par performance. For him, I mean, look, KDB's a fantastic player, but he wasn't controlling that game for us. Maybe part of the reason is where he started, maybe too far out right and a disjointed team. But he has to help. He has to make it work. He's such a world-class player. He has to find a way. Second half, he was better. But, I mean, he had the 2 moments of magic, obviously, that pass with the outside of his foot, outside of his right foot to Sterling, curled it round almost all the defenders. And if it was Cornet, who got his toes to it, or his studs to it, that ball would have been absolutely perfect for Raheem Sterling just to slot it home on the run. No thinking necessary. And the goal, obviously, he scored that goal. He had, 4 free kicks where I think pretty much they were all comfortable for the goalie to save. So he didn't have his best game for me, but far too many players didn't have their best games. Reason number 3, following on from that, individual errors. Our game was littered with individual errors. You had Walker playing Cornet onside. Okay, he was watching him, and he had his back to the rest of the game. He was focused on that one man. You're at the halfway line, man. You're on the halfway line. You're just looking at the guy who might be legging it down, and that's it. You don't know what's going on behind you. You don't know that you're playing everybody else on side who wants to make a run against our slow defenders. Fernandinho, Laporte, and Garcia are not blessed with pace. Walker is. And Walker's just looking one way, not a clue what's going on behind him. Not a clue. And then, when the runner goes through, Garcia works like a Trojan to get the tackle in. Walker's just jogging back. I remember I did the live stream. I did the watch along. I was screaming at him to get back. Walker was the man with the pace. You've got to chase. Maybe he thought the first guy was going to score. You don't think like that. Even an average defender, I always go back to my own self. I'm rubbish. I'm rubbish at football, okay? I've got very little skill, but what I've got is heart. determination, motivation. I would have been chasing back for all it was worth on the off chance that Garcia could have made the tackle and I want to be there, or Edison could have made a save and I want to be the man to pick up the pieces and clear and save our team. Walker didn't do that. His first thought was, ho hum. Yeah, he should have been busting the gut. So he made big mistakes there. Big mistakes. You had the errors from, we missed those open goals. Gabby J, I said it last night, even Mark Hughes, whatever he is, 57, 60 years old, whatever, he'd have probably stuck that volley away. All you have to do is keep your eye on the ball. Keep your eye on the ball and strike it cleanly. And everything was set up. He was about 6 yards out. Just get it on target. As long as it's, a foot either side of the keeper, it's a goal. So, snatching at that was poor, obviously. Raheem Sterling's miss. It's going to haunt him, I hope it doesn't, but I think it will for a while. It'll take him some time to get over that. The reasons for that, I've seen stuff on social media that, people are saying he should have caressed it in, or they say he's been taught to hit it hard. I don't know, put your foot through it. I don't know what it is. I don't know, but you should not be missing chances like that. He had time to control it probably and, do a Balotelli and hit it with his shoulder. He could have controlled it, stopped it on the line and nodded it in with his head, turned around and hitting it with his backside. So many things he could have done. And he chose to fluff his lines. You can't expect those mistakes. You can't expect those mistakes to happen. Look at Edison spilling an easy shot whilst we were only a few minutes to go, but we were still in the game. You spilled an easy shot. Shouldn't happen. Okay. I also think he should have come out to Dembele for the second goal. When Dembele was through, he came out and he just stood there. I think he could have come out a little bit more and actually narrowed the angle down a little bit more as well. Maybe he was worried that Dembele would rush past him, actually dribble past him and shoot and score. But I think he was caught in between a rock and a hard, well, I won't say a rock and a hard place, between two stools. He was caught there thinking, what shall I do? Yeah, and he just stopped. And I just think he should have come out a little bit more. I think he made it too easy for Dembele. And maybe he could have even made the save. I don't know. Laporte, mistakes. Yeah. Yes, he was fouled, but his pass was terrible. His pass, he had a guy next to him, a Lyon player there, and the City player behind. His pass cuts out the City player, straight to the Lyon player, can easily put the Dembele through. Laporte's out of business. I just think it was a too high risk of a pass. And sadly, Laporte has been making mistakes. He was well outpaced. I can't blame him for being outpaced early in the game. He was lacking in pace against one of their attackers. But he's made these mistakes against Spurs last season. He made glaring errors. Again, last night, glaring errors. And I'm not here just to criticise, okay? But I want to be more objective. I don't want to see. I think far too many people blow his trumpet and say he's better than he is. Don't get me wrong. He's a world-class defender, in my opinion. But he's a guy who makes mistakes as well, and that shouldn't be overlooked. And please don't elevate him to a level that he isn't, just so that he can compete with other defenders and say, and we want to argue he's the best in the world. He isn't, not by a long shot. Okay, individual errors. Reason number 4, leaders. Where were our leaders on the pitch? Yeah, when we lost Vincent Kompany at the end of last season, we didn't just lose a top-class defender when he was fit, but we lost a massive, huge, instrumental leader, both on and off the pitch. And I said, this season earlier on, if Vincent had been here, we would not have been 18 points behind Liverpool, in my opinion. Even if he didn't play more than a dozen games, we would not have been 18 points behind Liverpool, because Vincent Kompany is a leader on and off the pitch. He would have pushed us. He would have dragged us kicking and screaming through games. We would not have lost some of the games we've lost this season. We would not have drawn some of the games we've drawn this season if Vincent Kompany was around. He is so inspirational. He's He's your leader on the pitch, without question. And we've missed that. Sometimes I feel that we're like a rudderless ship. We don't know which direction to go. We panic far too easily and far too often. And Vincent Kompany would steady that ship, keep us afloat, stop us taking in water, keeping on with these nautical analogies. But he would stop us and get us to balance and to calm down a little bit. Yeah. And we just didn't have that at times last night. Even Fabian Delph with his limited ability at left back, he was a leader. He was another one that would drive the team forward. Where were our voices last night? Our best player, KDB, below par. Who was, sometimes you want someone shouting, you want someone pushing and dragging the players and geeing them up. Where were they last night? I didn't see them. Honestly, I didn't see them. And that's got to be a concern as well. You need leaders all over the pitch. And I just don't think we had any. I'm just trying to think, did we have any at all? And I don't think we did. So we need leadership in this team. It doesn't look like it's already there. It doesn't look like it's going to develop from the players we've already got. So how are we going to get leadership? Do you have to buy leadership in? And I made a joke this morning about Jordan Henderson. And we laugh about Jordan Henderson. I'm still going to laugh about him and say he's not fit. All right, this is slightly disrespectful, but he's not fit to lace KDB's boots, talent-wise, skill-wise, competence-wise, but what he brings is leadership. He's that glue. Same as where Vincent Kompany was that glue for the team. And Jordan Henderson is the glue for Liverpool. Their team on and off the pitch. We need somebody. We need somebody who is gonna be a leader, inspirational. Here's another analogy. When teams lose amazing managers, we can see a drop off. Look at United. Ferguson was there for so long. Look how they've struggled ever since he left. Even Arsenal struggling after Wenger. At least Wenger was getting them in around 4th and 5th. And look, they finished, was it 8th this season? So teams do drop off after they've had a top-class manager. Even Chelsea a little bit after Mourinho went. But they always seem to bounce back. But teams can drop off quite significantly for a few seasons. And it takes a while. Look at Barca. They stumbled once Pep left. They managed to win, I think, another Champions League a few years later. Was that right? But then they've been bang average ever since they've been losing great players. So teams... clubs can really struggle once they lose a top-class manager, someone who's been there for a long time. And teams can also struggle once they lose a top-class leader, a leader on the pitch like Vincent Kompany. And we need to replace it. Now, that's going to take time. It takes time to get yourself back going in the right direction. And I don't know who that leader is going to be. Is it going to be Koulibaly if we get him? I don't know. Honestly, we need to get him first. And after last night's shambolic display, some people are saying he couldn't come too soon. Others are saying, well, he was no good when he was called to do the business against Barcelona. So we need a leader. And reason number five, I have to mention it. I have to mention the VAR error. I have to mention this refereeing decisions and VAR errors. It's not out of bitterness. Because I've said on social media, we didn't deserve to win the game. I'm not saying Lyon were brilliant. They had the tactics and strategy, and we played into their hands by not changing things around. And some people said they deserved to win. I'll turn it around and say we didn't deserve to win. We deserved to not win that game. We didn't do enough to win that game. And so I'm not doing it out of bitterness, but VAR, what is up with referees and decision making? Yeah, we've struggled with officiating for years in Europe. Don't get me wrong, it can affect all teams. We saw PSG against Barca when Barca came back to stuff PSG, and that was just blatant cheating as well. We've struggled with officiating for years, but it just seems to hurt us that little bit more. We had it. Yes, we were outplayed by Liverpool when we lost in the Champions League 5-1 overall. But for a couple of different decisions from the referees, that could have been 3-2 coming back to Manchester. That, if we lose 3-2 instead of whatever we lost now, if we lose 3-2 or even 3-1, get it closer. I think we could have been 3-1 loss at Liverpool. I'd have taken that, and we had that. I think a proper goal disallowed at home. Whatever, I can't remember the details now. My memory's going, but it could have been 3-2. Game on. Instead, it's not. And the gap is still wide. Once you get the gap closer, obviously pressure comes to tell. Remember Spurs, the Spurs game last season. Remember that? That handball from Llorente in basically tonight to be their winner. So all these little things add up. And yes, Laporte was fouled, and I still cannot believe. I still can't believe that the foul wasn't given. Do I agree with the offside? Was the player interfering with play? He let it go through his legs. Now, I've talked about this, and we talked about this on Bolt from the Blue podcast with Colin Savage, and he says that gives, offside rule isn't right, because sometimes you can have a massive advantage by being offside. Yeah, it's like when you could be standing 20 yards offside, you're knackered, you're 35 years old, and you're standing in the penalty area, you're absolutely knackered, you're offside. The ball could be played down the channel, down the wing. A fast winger could come across, pick the ball up, get ahead, take it to the byline, get ahead of the striker who's basically now just goal hanging, cross it in, the guy's onside. And he's not had to make that run from, let's say it was from the halfway line, like the defenders have had to do. He's not had to do that. So that just doesn't seem right for me. And it's like this one, the guy's let it go through his legs. Yes, it's fooled some of the defenders to think, the guy's offside. They haven't seen. I understand play to the whistle and everything else, but they haven't seen. But I just think it's natural to think, the guy's offside, and just let him go. And he's opened his legs, and it's a combination of a poor call from the referee, linesman, VAR, and a poor offside rule, because you are interfering with play, because you are interfering with play because you're affecting the decision making of your opponents by opening your legs and letting it run through. By being offside there, you're affecting the decision-making of your opponents. But guys, look, it's hard cheese to City. When you look at, I'm not a massive, I'm certainly not a fan of expected goals. But City's expected goals were above 3. Lyon, I think, were below 1 or around 1. It was, the score should have been the other way around based upon the easy chances we had. And that's the bottom line. And I mean, if I was going to keep going and going and going, I'd say we're not clinical enough. That's always an issue. Clinical finishing is always let us down. But anyway, I could go on, as I said, I could have 10 reasons, 15 reasons. It's still not going to make any difference to the score. We still lost. We still didn't play very well. We only really got going in the last 30, 35 minutes. And then it was too late. Guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think. Yeah, what do you believe were the reasons why City lost last night? And if you are new to the channel, as always, I ask, please support the channel if you can, simply by subscribing to the channel and hit that bell icon so you know as soon as new videos come out. See you around, Blues.